We'll do a review in Likutei Sichos in Chelek Chavdala. This is volume 24. This is the Sicha for Elul, as it says in the star over here. This is also the siyum of Maseches Rosh Hashanah. In this Sicha, the Rebbe discusses the general machlokes between Rabbi Gamliel and the other sages. What is the overriding factor? What is the more important? Is it more quantity or more quality? The Rebbe brings down in various different places in the Talmud, both with regards to davening, which is the opening of the Sikha, and that's the connection to the month of Elul, which is the time for davening, and also the Masechta Rosh Hashanah, and also with regards to the study of Torah, and also with regards to tzedakah. The Rebbe will continue. What is the overriding factor? What is the more important, to have more quantity or to have better quality? And the Rebbe begins here with the machlokes between Rabbi Gamliel and the Chachamim, whether the main thing of davening together with a minyan or tzibur, tefillah b'tzibur, is according to the Chachamim, it's that there is 10 people davening together. There's a quantity of people davening together. That's kamus, that's quantity. According to Rabbi Gamliel, the main tefillah b'tzibur is the fact that the chazan davens, he represents all the community. The Rebbe brings down that originally, according to the Chachamim, the mitzvah is really for each one to daven by themselves. 10 people, but each of the people together, making a minyan, making a tzibur, they daven by themselves. And then we brought in the chazan so that he should fulfill, if somebody doesn't know how to daven, so they fulfill their obligation with the davening of the chazan. According to Rabbi Gamliel, the Rebbe brings out is the main thing is the chazan to daven, and that's the real tefillah b'tzibur. Well, there is 10 people over there in the shul, but it's the chazan's davening, and there's a reason why the people daven first, so the chazan has a chance to organize his davening. Let's look inside, and we'll go step by step. Aleph. Benegeya Elul, Aleph. Benegeya tefillah b'tzibur, as it relates to davening with a minyan, was is from the Mailus Achich Cheshuvas in tefillah. Davening with a minyan is one of the greatest importance in davening. Davening by yourself is one level, but to daven with a minyan, davening with tzibur, that is the greatest level. So what exactly is davening with a minyan? Gefindt man a plukta zwischen de Chachamim und Rabbi Gamliel. We find a disagreement between the sages and Rabbi Gamliel. The Chachamim zogun, the Chachamim say, Kishem sheshliach tzibur chayiv, kach kol yochid v'yochid chayiv. According to the Chachamim, just like there is an obligation for the shliach tzibur to daven, to lead the services, to do the repetition, there is also an obligation for each individual. When we daven first before the shliach tzibur, that is an obligation. There is a chiyuv for us to daven at that point. That's part of shliach tefillah b'tzibur. As it a chiyuv of jeden yochid von dem tzibur, there is an obligation on each individual of the tzibur, of the minyan, to mispalel zayin for sich, to daven for themselves. That's the opinion of the Chachamim. So the mitzvah is to daven for yourself. And as we'll see, the Gemara will explain this a little further. The Rebbe will quote in a minute. Rabbi Gamliel says, Shliach tzibur moitzias rabim yidei chilvasim. The Shliach tzibur, he fulfills, you don't have to daven by yourself. It's the Shliach tzibur that fulfills your obligation. The main davening is the chazan. When he davens, that's the davening. And you don't really have to daven. As the Gemara will explain, that there's a reason why the Chachamim also instituted that the people should daven. But the main thing is the Shliach Tzibur, the chazan. He leads the services. That's the main davening. When the Gemara brings them a braisa, so the Gemara brings down a braisa which articulates a little of the reasoning between the Chachamim and Rabbi Gamliel. Amrullah Rabbi Gamliel. So they argued, the Chachamim argued to Rabbi Gamliel, who says that the Shliach Tzibur fulfills the obligation of everyone. So the Chachamim said to him, Lidvarecha, according to your words, Lama Tzibur Mispalalim. So why are the people in the minyan, why are they davening? If the obligation is only for the Shliach Tzibur, for the Chazan, let him just daven by himself. Amar Amar Lahem, so Rabbi Gamliel answers the Chachamim that you're right, he doesn't really have to daven, but there's a reason that the Chachamim instituted so Kedei lahazdir shliach tzibur tfilosoi, so that the shliach tzibur, the chazan, can organize his davening, know what to say. So you give him the chance to while the everybody to daven beforehand. So there's really no obligation for the shliach, for the rest of the community, to daven, but only so that the shliach tzibur should organize his davening. The shliach tzibur soll haben Zeit zugreifen sein Tefillah, that he should have time to prepare his prayer. Amar lehem Rabbi Gamliel. So Rabbi Gamliel says to the Chachamim, the Divreichem, he says his argument to the Chachamim, if you say that everybody's obligation is for everybody to daven, so according to your words, that everybody davens. So lama shliach tzibur yored lifnei hateva. So why does the chazan, the shliach tzibur, the agents of the community, why does he descend before the box? Why does he lead the services? Amarullah. So they said to him. So the Chamim said, to fulfill the one who cannot daven by himself. That's what the shliach tzibur davens to make. So basically, the davening is the tzibur. And just for the one who can't daven, does not daven, the shliach tzibur is mitzi, the one who does not daven. But the mitzvah is for each one to daven. Amalahem, so he disagrees. Rabbi Gamliel disagreed. He says, Kishem shemoitzi hashein boki kach moitzi saboki. Just as he fulfills the obligation of one who doesn't know how to daven, he can also fulfill the one who davens. So nobody really has to daven. It's the shliach tzibur according to Rabbi Gamliel. And according to the Chachamim, it is the shliach tzibur, the community has to daven, and the shliach tzibur davens just for a special purpose to fulfill the obligation of one who's doesn't know how to daven. This means, to sum it up, loy de Chachamim is tzibur iker. According to the Chachamim, the community is the main. The davening of the tzibur is the main. The inyan futfilo b'tzibur, the idea, the concept, what does it mean to daven with a minyan b'tzibur together with the community, is was der tzibur is mispalel zusammen. That is that the community davens together. Und der inyan von chazoros hashat. So why is there a repetition of the shliach tzibur that he repeats the amida? Is blois atakone, that is merely a institution. So moitzi zayin dem eine baki, that is to fulfill somebody who doesn't know how to daven. So that's why the chazan davens. But the main davening is what the people daven together. This is the opinion of the Chachamim. Mashenke Rabbi Gamliel halt, as opposed to Rabbi Gamliel's view is Ashliach Tzibur Iker. The main thing is the chazan. He's the main davening. That Iker Inyan for Tefillah B'Tzibur is the Tefillas Hashatz. The main idea of davening with the minyan means the davening which the shliach tzibur, which the chazan, that he davens out loud. That's the main idea of a minyan. Und das was eider chazoros hashatz is jeder yochid von dem tzibur mispalel tefillas lachas for sich. And the fact that before the chazan does his repetition, why does everyone daven the silent amida, prayer for themselves when you don't really seemingly need that? Is the chazan is going to daven? That's going to be the tzibur. Is those blois? That was only for a separate reason. Atakonet tzalibun shas. This was instituted for the shliach tzibur, so to give him an opportunity to prepare kidei lahasdir shliach tzibur tfilosei, so that the shliach tzibur has an opportunity to organize and get ready with his davening. So, according to the Chachamim, the main minyan is when everybody davens together. 10 people daven, the tzibur davens together. And the main thing, according to Rabbi Gamliel, is that the shliach tzibur leads the services for everybody together. So what's the reason behind it? That's the Rebbe is going to probe it in his base. what's the reason, the logic, and what's the reason for their disagreement. So, well, if there's 10 people davening, that, according to the Chachamim, the main thing is the quantity. So there's 10, you have actually 10 people davening. There's a lot of quantity over there. Yes, you have a minyan, but you have a minyan, each one davens together, so you have a lot of quantity, as opposed to the Shliach Tzibur is only one, so that's only one davening, so there's less quantity. But on the other hand, the Shliach Tzibur includes in his prayer all the community, so qualitative wise, the Eichos, it's a stronger prayer. Let's look inside. Base. In Boz Bashtei der Tam Usvoris Plukta. In what does it consist, the reason and the logic of this argument? The Tzibur, whether the people, the minyan is the main, other Shatziker, or the Shliach Tzibur, the Chazan is the main. Ken men zogen, we can say, das is verbunden mit der Shaila HaYidua, that this is connected, this is tied to the known question, was hat mer chashivas, what has more importance? Ribui hakamus, to have a lot of quantity, or der goydel or great quality. Was man gefindt in them, aplukta zwischen Rabban Gamliel v'Chaverov, we find a disagreement about this between Rabban Gamliel and Chaverov, and his friends. So this is the story in the Gemara in Brachas, when they wanted to remove Rabbi Gamliel from being a Nasi. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah became the Nasi. The story, as we say from the Haggadah, Arei Aniki ben Shimshona, they appointed him for a Nasi, and they changed around and they allowed everybody to come into the shul. When Rabbi Gamliel was the Nasi in the yeshiva study, he announced that anybody who's inside, which means his truth, what he feels inside, is not like he pretends, like his outside, shouldn't come into the shul. In other words, you look like righteous, but you're not really righteous, or you're not really learning, so then don't come to shul. But when it came to Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, the other ones after Rabbi Gamliel, they said, let everybody come in. They opened up, they got rid of the guard, and they let everybody in. So the question is here, what is more important? According to the Chachamim, the Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah and the other ones, and then the Rabbi Kiva, the other ones there, to them it was more important to have the quantity, even though the students are just going to bring down the general level of the base medrash, and also the individual is going to be a less of a quality, but still it's going to be a lot more. The quantity is more important. According to Rabbi Gamliel, he wanted the quality. There should be only the students that fit into the level that their inside is like their outside, they're on a higher level. Let's look inside. The Gemara the Gemara relates, as B'shas Rabbi Gamliel is given Nosi, when Rabbi Gamliel was the leader, is Hoya Machris V'Omer, he would announce and he would say, Kol Talmid she'ein toiche kibarei lo yikones lebeis hamedrash. Any students who his inside is not like external, not what he shows himself, should not enter the beis medrash. And afterwards, B'shas mehoti mavir given for the Nesias. Then in the story over there in the Gemara, they removed him from the leadership. And Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah is Gevor Nosi, and Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah became the leader. So the Gemara says, "So cool the Pesach." They removed the guard of the door who didn't allow anybody in. It was given permission to students to enter. And the Gemara says, so at that day, since there were no more restrictions, they let everybody in. So many benches in the beis medrash were added because a lot of more participants. So what does this mean? So it's haste, which means Rabbi Gamliel's view is as the ikir chashivas from a yeshiva beis medrash, that the main importance, what is a yeshiva, a beis medrash, a study hall, is eichos hatalmidim. It needs to be the quality of the students. And that's why he would only allow in those students whose inside is like their external, which means that they are really interested. And although this requirement restricted the amount of students that could enter, they would not go. Those who are not at that level would not be able to join. Durch them is given miut hakamus from that talmidim. Even though through this restriction, this limited and diminished the quantity of the students. Mashenkin Chaveirov, as opposed to his friends, his contemporary, his colleagues, the colleagues of Rabbi Gamliel, they disagreed with him, which includes Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, Rabbi Yeshua, and Rabbi Akiva. They were all involved in that story to remove Rabbi Gamliel, and they were in that plot, and therefore they went along with Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. Halton, they're of the view as ribui hakamus is machria milas eichus, that the lot of quantity outweighs the advantage of quality. To get more students, even though generally it's going to diminish the quality, but it's going to add in quantity. And therefore that's the Ridaf Areinlos in the Beis HaMedrash. That's why you have to allow into the Beis Medrash also such students whose inside is not like their outside, a lesser grade, a lesser level of students. But the Ikir is because, according to the other opinion of Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah and the others, is a Zolzain Mer Talmidim be yeshiva. There should be more students in the yeshiva. Should be a ribui bekamus. There should be a lot in quantity. Even though this would cause a generally lowering of the standard of the quality of the Beis Medrash, the general would be a low b'meila, and also gabechas aprotim. Since there's a lesser standard b'chlal in the Beis Medrash, it also brings about a lesser quality in the individual students because it's a lesser place. So that was more important to Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah and the other ones who disagreed with Rabbi Gamliel. So the Rebbe wants to tie this in, that this argument also explains to us why, according to Rabbi Gamliel, it's mainly the chasans davening, and according to the Chachamim, it's mainly the people davening, the quantity versus quality. Based on this, we can say, as in them was Rabbi Gamliel halt as tfilos hashatz iker. In this, that Rabbi Gamliel is of the view that davening of the shliach tzibur is the main gater l'shitose. So he goes according to his view over here that we just quoted from the Gemara in Brachas, in the story over there, in which the students the different view. So this follows that view that Gamliel haltas tfilas hashatz iker. He holds that the main thing is the shliach tzibur davening. Gater l'shitose as eiches is machria kamos. He goes according to his view that quality overrides quantity. The Rebbe is going to explain in Ois Gimel now that this shliach tzibur is more quality, and the people davening, the tzibur davening, is more quantity, and that's the reason why Rabbi Gamliel holds that the quality of the shliach tzibur is the main davening, and the Chachamim, those who disagree, hold that the quality, and that's why mainly is davening, is the davening of the community together. Let's look inside Gimel. The beer in them, the explanation of this, in the Oiftu von Atzibur Gufa, when we have a tzibur, just saying davening together, so what's the difference between davening by individual? When you have a minyan, it's not the pshat that you have 10 individuals davening. These 10 individuals become a tzibur. So there is a certain level of quality that is added over an individual. You have a tzibur now, and a dover shebekidusha, you need a tzibur, you need a minyan. So in the Oiftu von Atzibur Gufa Zayin and Dod Debei the Milas. Over there we have a community has both. You have, in order to get a minyan, to get to that quality of a minyan, you have kamos, you need quantity, you need 10, and then also you need the quality. Aleph, number one, Atzibur Bashtei Tafke for Ribu Bekamos Asora Akoponim Yisrael. A tzibur consists specifically, you need to have a lot in quantity, needs to be at least asora, minimally 10. So there needs to be a certain quantity in order to make up a minyan, the quality base. And then once you have that quantity, that tziruf nasora Yisrael, the combination of 10 Yidn Shavta Metzias Chadosha, that creates a new entity. Now you have a Chativa Achas von Aneida Kedosha, one chunk that becomes a holy community. You have 10 people together. That changed the quality. A Chashivas Be'echus, it makes an importance in quality. So a minyan, by definition, accomplishes both. It needs quantity in order to make that quality of a minyan. Und das ist der Chiluk zwischen Tfilas HaTzibur. And this is the difference between when the community davens each one, versus koilo the Tfilas von kol echad ve'echad von Tzibur b'fnei atzmai. When the community davens, that includes the prayers, each one of the community davens by themselves. And on the other hand, you have on Tfilas HaShatz and the Tfilah of the Shliach Tzibur of the Chas. Tfilas HaTzibur hod the Maila for Ribu HaKamos. When the community davens, everybody, that has the advantage. There's a lot of quantity. The Ribu von Tfilos was very nitzaref yachad. That's a multitude, lots of prayers which are combined together. B'shas hasorem Yisrael seine mispalel zusammen. When 10 Yidden daven together, so you have now 10 people, a bunch of prayers all together. So you have a lot of quantity. But on the other hand, in Tfilas Hashatz, in the prayer of the Shliach Tzibur, is Faran de Maile von Eiches. Over there is the advantage of quality. Varum, because there is a qualitative, because there is a Shliach Tzibur, in addition to the fact the Rebbe brings down, the Shliach Tzibur needs to meet certain standards, which makes it a more important davening. But the fact is that you have one chazan through one mouth, everybody's prayer, so that raises the quality. In addition to the fact that Rebbe says in the bracket, must meet certain conditions and certain advantages, which raises the level of the echus of the prayer. So therefore, because he's on a higher standard, so his prayer, even as an individual, greater importance and quality-wise, relative to the prayers of other daveners, he is in a higher level, meeting the higher standard, the higher necessary condition. Is nachmer, but it's more than that. A shliach tzibur has a higher quality because he's one person representing in one tefillah the mouth of all the individuals. A shliach tzibur is in yoni. What is the idea of a shliach tzibur of the chazan? Was that is koilel di pifiyos amcha beis Yisrael. The fact that he includes all the mouth of your nation, the house of Israel. He includes them all. Bosu nasa shliach likulam. He becomes an agent for all of them. Shepif kipiyim. His mouth is like their mouth. He is saying, everybody is saying through the mouth of the shliach tzibur. Azoi, in such a way, as yeder word vaser is mispalel, every word that he davens is dos ki'ilu v'di ganze edu zoktas durpiv. Every word he says is as if the whole community is saying it through his mouth. Dos haste, which means to say, as in Tfilas Hashatz is meruchas, that in the prayer of the Shliach Tzibur, it is centralized and united, the Tfilah von Tzibur, the prayer of the community, as it becomes one entity, it comes through with the davening of the Shliach Tzibur, von Eide Gedosha. And under Geder in Eichus HaTfilah, this is a different definition in the quality of the davening. One davening that includes everyone is greater, even measuring relative to the prayers. You have a lot of people davening together. This one davening that includes everybody and it represents the tzibur is a greater quality. Und das ist der Plukta von der Chachamim und Rabbi Gamliel. And this is the disagreement between the Chacham and Rabbi Gamliel. What is the main? The Chachamim halt and the Chachamim are of the view as Ribuy HaKamos is Machriyeichus. That the quantity, the multitude of quantity, the more quantity, that overrides the Eichus, the quality, and the Riber Zogn say, and therefore they say, as the Riker from Tefillah B'Tzibur is Tefillah Satzibur. The main thing of davening with a minyan is when the minyan davens, the quantity, when you have older people davening. Masha'en Ken Rabban Gamliel, as opposed to Rabban Gamliel, halt, he is of the view as the Eichus Vektiber the Kamus, that the quality overrides the quantity. Und the Riber, and therefore, even though that the davening of the shliach tzibur is less, not so many people davening, it's one person, there's one shliach tzibur. Less bekamus is blois ain't tefillah, and one davening, it's not, but it's a more powerful, intense, inclusive davening. Is yober mer choshuv, but that's more important. B'tefillah satzibur than all the quantity together, that davening together. Vibalzi is feel gresser, because that's much greater. Der Hebener, it's an elevated be'echus in the quality. Hobendig dem koyach von ganzen Tzibur ke'echad, because now he has the entire power of the whole community together through one davening that overrides, and that's why he says that the main davening is the davening of the Shliach Tzibur. So it comes out now, according to this, that both of these ideas, whether it's the machloikes between Rabbi Gamliel and the Chachamim about is the Shliach Tzibur the main, the quality, or the Tzibur, the quantity, according to the Chachamim, is the same machloikes as whether you need a lot of students in the base medrash, according to the Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah and the other ones, or Rabbi Gamliel says that the quality of the students. So usually the Rebbe says when we have two places that we have the same idea, we have to find and say, well, if only of, so why do we need to repeat the same idea if it's really based on the same reasoning? So why do we need to specifically mention it in these cases? So we usually find that Tzricha said, the Gemara says, if we found it in one case, we wouldn't know it in the other case. So the Rebbe says that maybe that we can find a difference between these two cases, that even though that we know that Rabbi Gamliel needs prioritizes the ethos of the davening of the Shliach Tzibur, that but that would not tell us that would, and we wouldn't know the Chachamim's view, because in a yeshiva, as the Rebbe will point out, the main thing could be is quality. So because that's what a yeshiva is about, it's about quality. So no, even if we know that the Chachamim hold by us that quantity is the main, and the tzibur is the main davening, but maybe they would agree to Rabbi Gamliel when talking about a yeshiva, and the same thing in the reverse. Let's look inside. Machoina Mol Dalet, Machoina Mol Geret, already spoken in the past. As B'Shasman Gefinta Plukta zwischen Chachamim, if you find amongst the sages, you find a disagreement. Mitzad der Zelber Svara, that's based on the same logic. In Sveyo de Mer Erter, you find it in two or more places. Is Farana Chidish in Yeder Plukta, there must be a novelty in each one of the disagreements. Legabe de andere Pluktas relative to the other disagreements. Was der Far Muzna Robke Veracht werden beferisch alle Pluktas. That's why we need to specifically bring down all the disagreements. And we cannot learn them one from the other, because there is some logic that may not applies in one place, but it doesn't. We don't know in the other place where there is that same or seemingly the same rationale. We cannot learn one from the other. To use the language that the Gemara uses, is it says we need both cases. So similar into our case, that we need to have these both machloikas and side by tefillah and side by beis medrash. Jeder von the zwei pluktus anal is faran achidish. In each one of these two disagreements, and the disagreement about the minyan and the disagreement about the Beis Medrash, there is a novelty that we need to teach you especially by that case, and that's why it has to be written specifically. And the Rebbe explains, the minyan from Beis HaMedrash, when we talk about the subject of Beis HaMedrash, that we have the machloikes, we're talking about a student whose inside is not like his outside, somebody lacking. Felt in the klolus ha'echus von Talmud. He's actually lacking the general quality. He's not really a quality student. Talmud. Kemaimer Chazal, as the sages of blessed memory tell us, Kol Talmud Chochem she'ein toiche kibari. Any Talmud Chochem whose inside is not like the outside, ain't Talmud Chochem. He's not a Talmud Chochem. Lacking the quality, lacking toiche kibari, not being outside like inside like the outside, is not considered even a Talmud Chacham. So it's lacking the whole quality. But when we talk about davening, is by tefillas hatzibur faran, when the many daven together, nit not the mile from kamus. You do have, in addition, not only quantity, you have temple davening, you also get some advantage. There's also quality over there. It's not the quality of a chazan, but there's still quality, because when you have 10 people davening together, when 10 Yidden daven together, so each individual's prayer, or the rasatel from tzibur, or being part of the community, so each one's davening. There's an advantage than when you daven all by yourself, davening with the tzibur. It's a qualitative difference too. As is nor. The only thing is, so why is that not? It's not the highest quality. There's a greater quality. As the eichus from tzvilas hashatz, that the quality of the prayer of this shliach tzibur, in Belcha der ganze tzibur wird nisachad, in which in his prayer the entire community becomes united. Als ein Metzias von Aida Kedosha, they become one entity. An Aida Kedosha altogether is noch b'yeser says v'ilui, is with more force and more advantageous when the Chazan davens. So, therefore, but by Beis Medrash, if he doesn't have Toicha Kibari, he's lacking the main quality. There's no quality there, because he's not a Talmud Chacham. Mashen came by the minyan, even in the Shliach. Even when they daven, the tzibur davens, each one davens by themselves, but still there has the mila of a quantitative quality over there, because davening with a minyan, you're individual or as part of the minyan is on a higher level. And because of this, Ben es volt gestanden the shita for Rabbi Gamliel, blois beim inyan from Beis HaMedrash, if the view of Rabbi Gamliel would have just been stated by the Beis Medrash that we don't allow in students that are not fitting, then you would still think, as Davke dort geht that it's only by the Beis Medrash. He insists that you need the quality. He's not going to let the students that are not Tuchi Kibari, not going to let them in. As opposed to when we are discussing davening, is a murder over there. Maybe he would agree as Tfilas Tzibur is as Tfilas Tzibur Iker, that he wouldn't disagree maybe with the Chacham, and he would say that the davening of the many is the main. You still got some quality over there in that davening, so we're gonna say the many in the davening is the main. Because that has in it, he owns both advantages. It has a greater quality than a singular davening, because the minyan. It also has a lot of quality and quantity. So therefore, the view of Rabbi Gamliel is also stated by davening, in order to teach us, as euch in dem Fall is kidai der miyud bekamus zu libnoch aggressor eichus. So he's telling you that still, even though you have quality, even in the kamus over here davening, it's still worthy the less quantity in order to get a greater aggressor eichus, to get more eichus in the davening of the Shliach Tzibur. Only the Chisa. And on the other hand, when Shitas Rab Gamliel would gestanden bloß by Tefillah, if he only said it by Tefillah, now, normally in that case, we said the Rebbe wants to give now a different logic for davening, that Rabbi Gamliel himself, even if we knew what he holds by davening, we wouldn't know what he holds by Beis Medrash. There's an idea. But before the Rebbe says that, we don't even have to go that far. But the same distinction we made before, we could say that according to the Chachamim, it would go the other way. Maybe they it's okay with them, the Kamus, but we wouldn't know by the davening because there is Eichus there. But maybe if there's no Eichus at all, maybe they would agree to Rabbi Gamliel in that case. So is Noisaf Lozeb. In addition to that, was Mevolki Ken Zogen that we could have said, if we only had Tefillah, so you could have said, as by Beis HaMedrash, that in the Chachamim moided to Rabbi Gamliel metamanal, maybe the Chachamim will agree to Rabbi Gamliel because of the reason that maybe in a Beis Medrash you need to have Eichus because there's no Eichus at all if he's not Toiche Kibaret. But the Rebbe wants to say is Oiben against Shittas Rabbi Gamliel. He wants to find, even within Rabbi Gamliel, that Rabbi Gamliel might only say his opinion that the quality of the Shliach Tzibur outweighs. That's the main davening. From dort nit you can't uplearn, and we could not have learned from this, from there, as it halt as euch benegeit to Beis HaMedrash, that this is also his view with regards to Beis Medrash. And the reason is, while Beis Medrash is in Yonei Torah, but the Beis Medrash is Torah. Was niknis, how do you acquire Torah? B'dibuk chavedim u'b'pilpul ha'talmidim, by connecting with friends and the discussions with the students. And not only do students help and acquire Torah by teaching them, my students, I know more than anyone. So people at Talmidim will actually increase the level of knowledge of the students. Is vos mer Talmidim. So the idea would be the more Talmidim, including those that inside is not like they're outside. Altsmer pilpul, so there would be more discussion. And alts tifer der niknes, there would be even deeper the acquisition of Torah. So maybe by Torah, since it's acquired through people Talmidim, we need more Talmidim. That would be the Kamus, an important necessity. And that's why, even though he would hold over here that the Eichus overrides, but over there, maybe we should get the quantity and forgive on the quality. And the Rebbe says in the bracket, Val derech hamusar yesh lahoisif. So in the path of Musa, we can add to this idea why by Beis Medrash there would be an idea that Rabbi Gamliel should agree that we should also include those less quality students, mainly getting more quantity. Is Ayois Torah is Meloshen Hira, since Torah is from the language that it's a lesson, it's a teaching. Weisna mentioned to show a person be a dav sich firen, how he needs to conduct himself. So therefore, there would be, maybe, even though Rav Gamliel holds that the quality is the most important, but there will be some possibility, maybe we can say, as a yeshiva is oich tzulib talmidim, that a yeshiva should is also for students, she'ein toicham kibarim, their inside is not like their outside. Bichdei azezom wissen wie zu finden, they need to know how to conduct themselves. So even if they're not so religious, or noch better, and even more than this, oifton as by zezel werden toicham kibarim, maybe to accomplish that they too should be, their inside should be like their outside. Und der Riber, and therefore darf stehen Shittas Rabbi Gamliel by Beis HaMedrash. That's why the view of Rabbi Gamliel needs to be written specifically by Beis HaMedrash, lahashmi'enu, to teach us, As euch beniden zeh, that also in this case, halt Rabbi Gamliel as merechen sich mit echus. Rabbi Gamliel's view is that we count and we take into consideration the quality. Quality is the most important, and we cannot let those students that ain't teichen kibarim in, but we have to write it beferish because we would not know it from his halacha, the way he says it with regards to prayer. And the Rebbe is going to continue now in Nisei to find more places based on the also the saying of the Ragachover that there's a between Chaimer and Tzura, which was the one that overrides, and bring down more cases to demonstrate this idea. I say, the Rebbe continues that Teichen Hashayla Hanal, the idea of this above question, what is Tzuribui Hakamus is Machriya Oder Haichas, whether more quantity overrides or the quality overrides, is Oile Bekone Echad, this goes up on the one line, fits in, or at least it's similar. With the Ragachover is Meirich Bekame Mekoimus. As the Ragachover at length in many places, what is the Iker Hadover? What is the main item? Is it the Chaimer, Begeshem, the materialism, the physicality of the item, or there's ein Tzura, or it's its shape, or it's the idea of the item? If mainly we consider is the material, then more quantity has more importance than quality. If the main thing, however, is the shape, is the content of the idea, is echus machriya kamus, then quality overrides quantity. And the Rebbe gives now another situation. So based on this idea, we can find another lishitose, which Rabbi Gamliel follows his view, and the Chachamim find the good sufficient Rabbi Gamliel with the Chachamim, between Rabbi Gamliel and the Chachamim. So the question is, like this, the din is that if you're a Meida b'mixus, if somebody asks you for $100 and you say, your answer is I only owe you 50, you have to swear that you don't owe the other 50. But that's only if I'm Meida b'mixus. If you said I don't owe you anything, then it's a koifer hakoil. You're denying, then you don't have to swear. If you're a Meida b'mixus, then you have to swear. But what is the difference? The question is, if the person demanded wheat, says you owe me 100 wheat, and you respond that, oh, not 100 wheat, I owe you barley. So wheat you're denying altogether. Is that considered Meida mixes? Let's look inside. In the din funtane chitim v'hoite leibes oidim potu. But Rabbi Gamliel Machai, the halacha, if you demanded wheat and the other person, the other party admits, but he doesn't admit, but he admits barley. So the Chachamim say that you're potter because you didn't admit really anything what he asked of you. He asked of you, although you remain, the value of the Seirim is worth less than the Chitim, but you didn't give anything what he asked you. You said no Chitim at all. But the Rangalil says you're chayiv. The Chachomim, the Tanakama, which is the Tanakama, the first Halton Azameida mixes is chayiv, that when is one who admits partially is obligated, nor when the heido the mixas is mimin hataina, only if the admission, the partial that you're admitting, is from part of the argument. Aber Rabbi Gamliel halt, but Rabbi Gamliel holds as euch when the Haidah is Shalom min Hataina, that even if the admission is not from what you argued, is man chayiv shvuas, you still be chayiv the shvua because you're admitting partially. But also with regards to this argument, we can say, Ados is told in the Shaila Hanal, this depends on the above question. Was is the Iker von Hazach, which is the main of an item? Ir Chomer v'kamus, its materialism, its quantity, or the Irtzura v'echus, or its shape and quality. Ubahagdim. And by introducing, so to see, the Rebbe says that Tam Pavos the Hidof from Moite Mixus or Darfen Zaime Minataine is. What is the reason of the Chacham? They say this Potter, they need it to be part of the argument. Why do they need that? Why is that a requirement? If the admission is not the same with the argument, you're admitting to something else, not what they're arguing. So kumtuish, then it turns out as that is nitke moide b'miktzas hataina. You're not admitting part of the argument. If the taina fun chitim, the argument that you owe me chitim, what is a nitke moide b'miktzas? He's not admitting it partially, nor akoy for akoy. That's he's denying entirely. Un oiv zayin hoido bis oidim. And that what you're admitting that you owe the barley is überhaupt talking taina fun teveya. Over there, there's no argument at all. Nobody's demanding it. So it doesn't apply to be admitting part of the argument. Because so on one part, you're a kofer hakoil, what he's demanding you. And on the part that you're admitting, he didn't demand you. So we don't have a made of mixes. That's the reason of the Chacham Tanakam. But this that really depends what's considered the main when we say an argument. When you're demanding and an argument in which you're demanding money, there are two aspects. The tvia bepoyel, the actual demand, that expresses itself. You're demanding something specific, something chitim, soidim, but there's wheat, barley, similar. But this is der chomer kamus from der tvia. That would be the material, the quantity of the demand. But der teuchen zura from der tvia is, but the content, the shape, what is the tvia is moment vasermon beim chaver. You're demanding money from him. You're not, doesn't, how it expresses itself through chitim, through soidim, he owes you. But das is gleich by alle tvias. That is equal by all demands. Chitim, soidim, whatever you're demanding. Und das ist the plukta zwischen the Chachomim mit Rabbi Gamliel und the Shitosayu Azli. This is the argument between the Chachomim and the Rabbi Gamliel in which they go according to their view over here. The Chachomim, the Shitosan halten, the Chachomim, according to their view, they hold as the Ikeri Yeder Zach is the Chaymer Vekamas Adover. In every item, it's the material and the quantity of the matter. Similarly, in our case, is that Iker the Chaymer HaTaina, mainly it's the material of the Taina. And therefore it turns out, is in a fall from Ton in a case where it demands the wheat and he agrees to him with barley, is Nitoke Meidem Mixas HaTaina. We don't have admitting partial argument. Mashenk and Rabbi Gamliel halt, as opposed to Rabbi Gamliel, his view is as merechen sich mit eichus hatayna. What we are really considering is the quality of the argument, not the specific, not the manifestation of the Talmud, which is manifests itself in wheat or barley. We don't take that into consideration. Mainly, we're looking is the eichus hatayna, the quality of the taina. Baziz the zelba, that is the same. Sai by chitim, un sai by soidim. Whether we're talking about barley or wheat or barley, you have a demand. The other person owes you money, so therefore, that's what your demand is, and that's the as far as the demand, the quality is the same. When the riber is as ahido b'mixus, and that's why he would consider this to be admitting partially. I feel about this is nit meminataina, even though the material, the argument is not the same about wheat and barley. Mitzadem chaymerataina. The material of the taina is different, but still he considers this to be a maida mixed taina. And going along with the previous idea, why do we need all the machlekes? Vov. Und der Chiddush in der Plukte legabe die frierdike zwei Pluktes is, what is the novelty in this argument that we would not know from the already previous argument that we have by regards to Tefillah and regard to Beis HaMedrash? Because Beis HaMedrash, which is Torah, and Tefillah, seine Nachefze shel mitzvah, it's an object of a mitzvah. What man gekannt sagen, then you could have said, was das was Rabbi Gamliel rechnet sich bei sie mit Eichus HaDover. Why does Rabbi Gamliel over there consider the quality of the matter is Mahai Time Gufa? That's for that reason. Since we're talking about an object of a mitzvah, we're talking an item which is in holiness, is choshuv umachriya the teichen ve'echos from der Sache. Over there, it's important. And what outweighs, it's the content and the quality of the item. That's why in those cases, Rabbi Gamliel goes after the quality. As opposed to optional matters, Torah doesn't give them any importance. So if they don't have importance for Torah, so we don't care about the quality of it. We would just consider the quantity. Rashi explains that you cannot prepare hazmona for Suda Schoil. It is not important, and it doesn't apply there to prepare for it, so it has to be something important to prepare. Because it's an optional meal, it's not a Torah mitzias. It doesn't have any importance so that you need to prepare for that. And therefore, if it would not have written over there his view with regards to that there's also the quality outweighs, we wouldn't know what we would not have known his view from Torah and Tefillah from the way he holds by Torah and Tefillah that there is quality overrides, because there is Dover Shebekdusha, over there it's optional, Dvarim Shus. If it would have just said the case of Ton Levichitim, wenn es wohl gestanden, die Plukta von der Chachamim, mit Ragnumlia, Blois benegeit so Edom, in Hatayin, if it would have just said in that case, wollt man nicht gewusst, Shittas Chachamim, benegeit zu Torah Tefillah, we would not have known the view of the Chachamim as it relates to Torah and Tefillah.